remember Miss Shields calling roll. And she calls me. She calls everybody. And she says, let's see, who's absent? Let's see. Eileen Akers is absent. Do any of you know what's the matter with Flick? Does he have the flu? The flu is going around, as it always was going around. Is that the flu? With that, Schwartz says, Miss Shields. Miss Shields. And he's got his hand up. Oh, he's going to chicken out. He's going to do... Miss Shields. And Miss Shields, yes. Schwartz, yes. Miss Shields. Flick. Yes. Flick. Yes. What is it? Flick. Flick's tongue is stuck to a telephone pole down by Martin's house. What was that? Flick's tongue is stuck to a telephone pole down by Martin's house. Flick's tongue is stuck to a telegraph pole in front of Martin's house? When? No. He's out there now. He's out there now? And I saw her face get purple. And then it got white. Then it got red, and she had this hair. See, her hair looked like a Brillo pad on the top of her head, you know, that kind of lady. And you could see her glasses cloud up. She says, Flick is stuck to a telegraph pole? And she turned, and pow, out of the door she goes. Boom! Well, by now, me and Schwartz and Bruner were totally and completely convinced. I mean, you know, the human soul, on the one hand, is very optimistic. On the other hand, it is totally pessimistic. And it will range like a pendulum between those two poles. Have you noticed that? Either you think it's going to be a great day, or you think the bottoms fell out of your knickers. You know, forget it. Well, we were completely convinced. In fact, I can remember Bruner whimpering, summer. Flick's going to be here till summer. We had this rumor already started among the three of us that Flick was going to be there till summer, till baseball season. You know, and every day we'd have to go past him on the way to school. And they're going to have to come and give him, you know, Castoria and stuff to feed him. Or pablum or something. Well, he's hooked at his pole. Well, Miss Shields took off. And you could hear a lot of activity running around in the school. You could hear doors slamming and telephones ringing and all kinds of stuff. And out the school goes the school nurse. We could see him going out to school. Oh, we have, you know, school nurse. You could see cars leaving, the whole bit. And then off in the distance, you have never, I'll tell you, I don't know of the more scary experience. How many times, friends, are you lying in your sack at night, or you're walking along the street, and you hear off in the distance, you hear, the sound of a distant, approaching and receding siren. Squad car, the police, the fire department, who knows what, an ambulance. But it's always whistling for someone else. It's always screaming in somebody else's world. You notice that? And you're always a kind of spectator on it. And then most of the times you don't even notice it. You just hear it. Woo! Well, let me tell you, friends, every time you hear one of those things whistle, there is somebody else at the other end of it. Somebody else. And we could hear in the distance, woo, the sound of fire engines. And somehow we knew that it was connected with Flick. We knew that it was connected with the whole scene that me and Schwartz and Bruner and Flick had started about 10 minutes before school, low this early morning, when we had all taken out to go to school after an innocent breakfast of Ralston and cream of wheat. And we had put on our high-top shoes and our socks in such complete innocence, not knowing that today was going to be a day of total disaster. And we could hear, woo! And they stopped about a block and a half away, and out over across the gray horizon, all the kids are looking out of the window. you could see the lights, all the red flashing lights. And you see all these firemen jump off, and they got axes, and they're going to chop them off. They got axes, and they got all kinds of stuff. They don't know what they're going through. They got axes and ladders, and they're running. And this long silence. And we're watching. I can remember Joshua Schwartz and all of us looking out. Helen Weathers, the whole crowd, peering out. Flick is out there in the darkness, one of us. Flick the skeptic. You could see people out there, dozens of them. Well, the bell rang. They had these automatic bells. The bell rang, and all of us went out to recess or someplace else, and we were gone. I remember it was about a 15-minute hiatus, and there's rumors all over. You know what they had to do? Did you hear what they did? They cut his tongue out. He'll never be able to talk. No. Oh, no. No, did you hear? Another kid come up. Hey, you know what happened? They came over there, and they discovered they couldn't remove him, and now he's going to have to be there till summer. Yeah, they're putting a fence around him. Yeah, Flick is you know what happens? You put your tongue on one of them poles, and it gets glued to it. It's I don't know, it sticks to it, and never come off. And there were rumors all over in the school. Holy smokes! And the bell rings. We all go back in. It's after recess now, and now I go back into Miss Shields' class. And who is back? Miss Shields, and she is looking grave, and she's got that look. And all kids can tell when grown-ups are really serious. You can play around. When they're mad, when they're bugged, when they're irritated. But then there's a point when they're really serious, and you don't play around. You don't. We're all sitting there. This is usually the time immediately following the recess when we got Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy. And Miss Shields is standing up next to her desk. She had this great desk, and there were all kinds of rumors about what she had in her desk all the time. You'd see these drawers you always want to get. As a matter of fact, the lower left-hand drawer was filled with thousands of pieces of kid effluvia that Miss Shields had confiscated over the ages. She had over 242 sets of wax teeth that she had taken from the kids. As a matter of fact, she had 4 sets of mine. I've often, felt like going back and getting them, but I'll never forget the time that all the boys in class, en masse, one day appeared in class wearing wax teeth. And all she did was walk up and down the aisle saying, all right, put them in my hand. Come on, spit them out. Come on, spit them out. So she had a set of 23, 23 sets of wax teeth. She had, I'd say probably maybe 7 or 8 dozen rubber daggers. She must have had about 522 of these little things that you throw your voice with, that you buy for 10 cents. You stick it under your tongue. You're supposed to holler, help, help, coming out of trunks. She had all that kind of stuff. Dirty books. She had it all, And so she is standing up next to that desk, and she is not kidding around. She is wearing her purple dress that she always wore. That was her winter dress. She had this light green dress that was her summer dress. And so she had a purple dress. She's standing in front of us, and she waits. And now the crowd is silent. And she said, I suppose all of you know what happened to one of our classmates this morning. She looked around, that significant look like, I suppose all of you know, and for those of you who did not hear about it, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. I want this to be a lesson to all of you. And furthermore, those of you who were involved in it are going to hear more about it afterwards. I might as well warn you of that now. And I could hear Schwartz. He's back there with me with the S's. See, I heard Schwartz. He's the guy that did all that. I mean, this is obviously, he could be nothing less than an accomplice. I mean, an instigator. He's a dacoit. I mean, this guy's an assassin now. And Bruner is weeping. And she said, one of our classmates, Flick, has been taken home by the fire department. His tongue was frozen to a metal lamppost. Did you hear what I said? His poor little tongue was frozen to a metal lamppost. Poor little Flick. his tongue frozen to a metal lamppost. Now, I have something to say about that. I know that some of you in this room were involved in what happened to poor little Flick this morning. Now, you hear me? I know that some of you were involved. In fact, a lady who lived right near where it happened said that she saw some boys with poor little Flick this morning, and she said that she saw them push poor little Flick onto that telegraph pole, right onto the pole. Now, I want to know who did that. Who was responsible for this? Now, put up your hands. All right. I'll give you 5 minutes. I want to know in just 5 minutes who did this to poor little Flick. We sat there 5 minutes. Oh, we've been, like, we're kids, see? And, like all kids, for years we've been working on the innocent look as an art form. We're sitting there, we're looking so innocent. Oh, I could just feel innocence pouring out of me. I had nothing to do with it. Not me. And I look over and I could see Schwartz. Schwartz is sitting there. Do you remember these little cards they gave you at the Sunday school? These cards that would show these little fat babies, these little angels flying around blowing bugles with the little things around the head and all that, little curls. Schwartz is looking like one of those little fat angels blowing bugles. He's sitting there looking so innocent. And Bruner, Bruner looked like the driven snow. And the three of us are sitting there. And Miss Shields is just watching, looking. We never often saw Miss Shields angry. Miss Shields was one of these teachers, the kind of nice, old maid type teacher who wept a lot and who would bring cookies once in a while for us and make us bob for apples and that kind of stuff. Ooh, was she mad. You could just see it coming out of her. And she sat at her desk. And for 5 minutes we played with maps of Peru and looked innocent. And then suddenly she stood up again. All right, class. The 5 minutes are up. Now, one of you, if not more, in this room, know that you are guilty. That you were responsible for what happened this morning to one of our little classmates, poor little Flick. And you have not had the courage to step forward and to tell that you were involved. But this morning, when they took poor little Flick home, he would not say who was with him. Well, I want to say this, that whoever you are, you will always remember what you did today. It will always be on your consciences. You could have frozen poor little Flick's tongue to that lamppost forever. And then where would he be? And what would you get out of it? Well, I don't want to punish the rest of the class for what you did, whoever you might be. And you'll have to live with yourself. Remember that. You probably don't understand that now, but someday you will. I don't want to punish the rest of the class, so I'm going to read, as we always do at this time of day, Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy. Now, you remember yesterday, class, when we left Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy, they were going with the camel with the wrinkled knees, and they were going after the balloon fairies. Now I read from chapter 3. Andy said to Raggedy Ann, "Raggedy Ann, let's climb upon the back of the camel with the wrinkled knees and go out after the balloon fairies." Well, Schwartz and Flick, somewhere off in the distance, and Bruner, and myself, huddled under the howling cosmos of guilt.